All right. So a lot of questions out there on on putting a different seat on my Rattan 750 LM or LM750, and this will work too with the LM or LF750. All right. So first thing is, here's the original seat that came with it. All right. Here's the original seat that came with it. A lot of you folks will recognize this. Okay. These are butt killers. All right. These things are butt killers. So the first thing I had to do was, for my wife and I, was to be able to go to bigger seats like this right here. All right. Now this is a Walmart / Meijers 50 acres seat, bought locally. I think it was about $29, something like that. All right, off the shelf. Probably get them cheaper elsewhere, but I was kind of in a hurry. All right. And this other one is a different seat because I only had one of these. So this was a Schwinn deluxe, double cushioned, real wide, and this is the one that I put on my wife's bike. This is another Schwinn, double cushioned, same kind of a design. Okay. Now, if you just want to switch seats, here's what you can do. All right. You'll notice that on the stock seat, it has these double bars. See the bars right there? Those little mounting bars right there that I got my finger on right now. All right. You know what? I think I'm going to get out in the sunshine. Maybe you'll be able to see those a little bit better. Let me move this. Let me move my porch bench out a little bit farther. Here we go. See if this helps. All right. So this is the stock seat. See the mounting bars right there? All right. You can't take it. When you buy the new seat, when you buy one of these new seats, it'll come with hardware on its double bars like this right here. All right. You'll have to remove the hardware. Uh-oh. Lost one of the bolts or nuts. You'll have to remove that from the replacement seat, from this replacement seat, okay? And then you remove the stock seat. Instead of removing the whole apparatus, only remove it from these clamps. See this right here? You loosen this nut up right here, all right? And remove it from these clamps right here, where I got my finger at, okay? Just take that stock seat right out of the clamps. So you still have this clamping device, see that? Still in place. Slide the clamping device onto the new seat bars, where the original, on the new seat, where the original clamp that I just showed you was at. You remove that original clamp device, this guy, remove that off the new seat and just use the original clamp on the pogo stick seat, and clamp the new seat onto the original post for the bike, all right, into that clamp, and then you can adjust it forward and back on these rails using the original Rattan bike clamp. You can use that and adjust the seat forward or back, whatever position you want to put it in. I found them more comfortable by having them the seat moved all the way back in the clamp and then tightening it down there. So you see that? So that's what I ended up with. And it works absolutely perfect. Okay, there you go. All right. So then you can use just a regular bicycle seat. You don't have to go to the expense of trying to find one, whatever. Okay. All right. Now on to another little discussion. All right. Wanted to, even though removing and putting a different seat on my wife's. Now this is my wife's bike, and she's shorter than I, and she needed a lower seat height. Okay. Even though putting this regular bicycle seat that I got from Meijers or Walmart, whatever I picked it up at, did lower it some, she still needed it lower. So here's what I did. Now if you look at these two seat posts side by side, you will notice some major differences. Notice the length of height between the cushion here and the where the seat post connects at compared to this one. All right. All right. I lowered her seat an additional inch and a half, which is huge when you're talking about someone who can't touch the ground with the seat fully down and all that kind of stuff. All right. This made a big difference for my wife. Okay. So what I ended up doing was this. You will notice, here, let me get them here like this. Yeah, getting these things all together in the sunshine so you can see them is sort of a difficult task. See the difference between here and here now in the bottom of the seat clamp there? And there's like a major difference between mine and this one. So what I did was I took the seat all the way off, so all that was left was this bracket right here, all right, into the top of the clamp. Now the way that this works is inside of the seat post is an aluminum rod, if you will, that this clamp or that this L bracket mounts to, all right. And I tried removing that so I could mount the seat internally, and that didn't work. You see that little roll pin right there where my finger's at? All right, I drilled that out. I tried knocking it out. I tried drilling it out and everything else, and I still couldn't get that stud out of there. So what I ended up doing was I ended up taking a hacksaw and cutting right across the top of the mosquito on here, and cutting right across the top where my fingertip is at that joint right there, cutting right straight across. I cut that off. So on hers, you will notice that this L bracket is gone. Okay. All right, that's gone. I cut it off right where that vertical bracket meets the seat post itself. That's where I run my hacksaw blade through, and I cut it off right there. All right. Now, you want to do that because this surface right here, right there, is what you're going to clamp. You're going to this OD, the outside diameter of this surface right here is where you're going to end up using the clamp. This is one of the clamps that come on the new seat. Okay, you see this? All right, this comes on a bicycle seat when you buy it. All right, and this is what came on those bars, those rails that I was showing you that I've removed. All right, this one is off from my seat. See that? And I used the original Rattan rail clamp on the underneath side right there. I used that original clamp to attach my seat. Now, what I did with my wife's is I used, although it's painted black, all right, this clamp came with this seat. The only difference between this clamp and the clamp that's still on this one right now is it's painted black. Okay, so after I cut it off, then after I cut off the Rattan post, then I used that original clamp that came with this seat that I bought from the local store. I slid that clamp here, this part of it, I slid that over the top of the OD of that post. Okay? That's why you see the difference between the seat height here of my seat and the seat height here of my wife's seat. Doing what I'm talking about left the suspension part, the pogo part of the original Rattan seat post totally functional. So now these seats have the spring apparatus in for the seat, which is right there, okay? It has that for cushion, it has the cushion in the seat, and then it also has the original pogo stick, still fully 100% fully functional. All right, so both of our bikes have seat springs, all right, and functional Rattan post suspension springs. Okay, those remind me a lot of I had a 42 war bike, a 1942 Harley Davidson war bike, and those were rigid framed, and their rear suspension was a pogo seat, just like this right here, pogo setup, just like this right here. So that reminds me a lot of those. So, but anyway, that's what I did. So I just made them work. Okay. Now when I adjust them, too, when you put these in your bike, the farthest down that you can go into the frame, all right, is with this edge of that post being flush with the top of the frame post, the female part of this on the frame. You got to have that level. If you get down below that, you get into this area, you can't clamp it down. You can't clamp the seat down. Now, my neighbor, who also now has bought 3 of these he bought LM750s. I think he got another one, different one too. I think he got a Yami, something, Fat Bear or something like that, Fat Boy. But for his wife, because his wife is a little shorter even than my wife is, so he just did away with the original seat post altogether and just went to a solid piece seat post. So now he gained another 1.5 inches in being able to drop that seat down all the way. Now he can drop that seat post or that seat all the way down flush to the frame, which gains him another 1.5 inches lower. So you can do that too. The only thing about doing that is then you don't have a pogo. Then you don't have a pogo seat. Okay, so you lose your rear suspension. All right, so so I throw that in there too. Let's see, anything else in here that I can think of? No, I think that about explains it. So there you go. That's what we did for our seat adjustment and putting new seats on our bike. Okay, hey, get out and ride, but get them ready before you do, because boy, once you get out there and get riding, you don't want to have to come home because you got a sore butt. Okay.